where you feel like, oh my gosh, it's gonna work out, and then other times, it doesn't look like it's gonna work out, and then sometimes at the last second, it works out. Hey dancers, it's Kirsten, and Happy New Year if you're watching this at the beginning of 2025, or I don't know, maybe a future year you're coming back to revisit this. I'm very excited you're here, and today I'm going to share with you some tips on how to set, quote, realistic goals for the New Year's. And when I say realistic, that is actually such a loaded term for dancers. I've noticed, especially when I'm coaching dancers as a high performance mindset coach for dancers, I'm often helping them to uncover limiting beliefs that they have, insecurities, fears, doubts that are really holding them back. And when we identify how it is specifically that their mind is holding them back and we start to change that, I've noticed that it is so powerful for helping them to truly dance to their fullest potential and achieve their goals. So what I've noticed is that often in these conversations when we are working through fears, doubts, and insecurities that are holding them back, is that a lot of times they come to me with this term like, well, I want to make sure that what I want for myself is realistic. Okay, on one hand, we could just take that and run and say like, yeah, sure, of course, that makes total sense. Yeah, we want to make sure that our goals are achievable or within the realm of possibility, so we maybe don't get our feelings hurt trying and potentially failing or wasting our time and efforts or whatever. But why I say this is a loaded term for dancers is because we often define realistic as in a variety of ways that are covert. One of them might be, oh, I want to make sure it's realistic, and what they mean by that is, well, I have to definitely achieve it, or it has to be sure that I can achieve it before I'm willing to take a risk and go out there and go for this. But partially what I'll talk about in the video, or one thing I'll cover, is that with setting new goals and accomplishing new things, inherent in that is the aspect of doing something you haven't done before. How would you know with 100% certainty if you can do it or not? I don't think it's reasonable to expect 100% certainty or enforce that in shooting for big things. I think it's nice to treat our goals as like, yes, take action like it's serious and like it's going to happen, but also recognize that, kind of that like corny quote is true of like, shoot for the stars and it's cool if you land on the moon, or sometimes it's nice to see the process of setting and achieving goals as you're just picking a direction, you're setting your sights on something that you want, and you're open to either getting that or better. And when I say better, open your mind to what better might mean. Maybe you will learn something that you never knew that you needed to learn, and that lesson totally changes your life. Maybe who you become and the skills you develop in the process of achieving this goal that you ultimately don't achieve opens your life up to achieve so many other incredible things. Maybe in fully going for this one goal, like becoming a professional dancer, even if you don't achieve that, you can live knowing that you gave it your all instead of regretting that you didn't, that you held back, that you didn't go for it. And perhaps in the pursuit of achieving your goal, even if you don't make it, what I've noticed is that I end up learning so much from going for it that it sets me up for different successes, or even the same success that I initially failed at in my future. Or the process of just setting your sights on something and fully going for it with reckless abandon, it also helps you to learn more about what you actually want. Sometimes we give ourselves this label of failure when we don't achieve a goal that we thought we wanted. And when we really do some soul searching, maybe that goal wasn't actually good for you in the end. Or maybe you didn't actually really, 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 really want it. You just thought, oh, that's what people say is cool. I should do it. Oh, I should want that. And yeah, that's just the thing about life is I think we learn in motion. When we take action, we get clarity. And I used to be someone who held back so much from really living at my fullest potential. I mean, who knows if I'm even doing that now? I'm willing to bet not. I mean, there are many times I feel like I do, but even the nature of potential is a mystery because maybe there's more. Maybe we just think we're at our full potentials, So, but anyway, like in my own journey, I used to be so afraid of failure. I used to be so obsessed with like, well, I'm not sure I'll be able to do that. So maybe I don't want to aim for it. I was so afraid of being messy. I was so afraid of messing up. I was so afraid of failing. I was afraid of facing rejection, getting my feelings hurt. So ultimately, in the beginning, it was like, okay, I was driven by this need for achievement and this desire to like achieve excellence. But then over time, that drive mixed with so much perfectionism turned into this crippling fear of failure that led me to just live a smaller life than what I was capable of because I only wanted to go for things that I knew I could do or that I reasonably thought I could do instead of practicing like just throwing myself into things without having to know if I'm going to achieve it or not, trusting that I'm going to get what I need to get out of that process. It's better to just go for stuff. So I hope that that little ramble, okay, like 6 minutes, 7 minutes of rambling, connected with you in some way. Let's go ahead and get into the tips. I just wanted to call out that realistic. I recommend that you pause to define what lines of thought are going on behind that term. How are you defining it? What is your relationship with uncertainty? Do you feel like you absolutely have to achieve every single goal you set and you don't want to set a goal that you're not sure you could do? Are you okay with going for things and not being totally certain if it's going to work out? What's your relationship with failure? I think it's really important to have some good journaling sessions about that. Do a little soul searching around it. And paired with the tips I'm about to share, I hope that it really opens you up to just living at a bigger level, going for things, being, I like the term expansive, like just letting yourself live big, go for things, dare to mess up, dare to quote unquote fail. So yes, that is my long intro for you. Let's get into the tips. Oh, and real quick, I should introduce myself. If you don't know me, my name is Kirsten Kemp, and if you don't know the work that I do, I am a high performance mindset coach for dancers, meaning that I work with dancers individually as a coach to help them really overcome the common mental blocks that are stopping them from performing to their fullest potential with confidence. So I help not only to break through those mental blocks like self-doubt, performance anxiety, low self-confidence, perfectionism, comparison, things like that, but I also help dancers to practically implement the steps to building a truly confident mentality that helps them to be really radiant and, again, dance to their fullest potential as artists. So if that's something you're interested in, visit theconfidentdancer.com. It's linked below. You can learn more about my coaching services and schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me if you're interested in seeing if the Confident Dancer Coaching Program, my individual program, is something that would be a great fit for you personally. So check that out if you're interested. So first, as you are setting or preparing to set your goals for the next year or a couple months, whatever time frame you are setting goals for, I think it's really nice to start with an audit of what energizes you, what excites you, and what drains you. So of course, some of the things that might drain you, maybe there are a couple of corrections you've been getting, like let's say if you're setting a technical goal, like I want to master triple pirouettes. Okay, great. On one hand, that might feel like, ooh, exciting, energizing to you because you imagine being able to do that consistently and feel comfortable doing so, and it's like, ooh, yeah, I would like to do that. Okay, great. that's a good point of awareness. On the other hand, you might have just received a bunch of corrections, like, okay, you really need to work on your pirouettes. Okay, it's kind of general, but how so? You know, maybe you're setting goals based off of things that you just think you should work towards. And that's valid, you know. It's valid to take the feedback. It's good to take the feedback of your instructors or leadership directors, whomever, and implement that, you know, because that's an important aspect of training and being a good professional dancer if that's where you're at. But when you're setting goals for yourself, I do think it's really important to set goals that you genuinely want to accomplish. So often we don't stick to our goals because we really set them just because we think we should. I wouldn't want to be consistent with that. Like, you know, a sense of obligation is really only going to take you so far in your level of action and consistency and drive. You know, I think it's nice to start with doing a general audit. Like, what changes excite me when I think of making them? What goals or accomplishments or whatever it is excite me at the thought of them, and which ones like drain me. And you can also look at just your current life, the last year you've had. What are some things that you did or focused on that ultimately just drained you? They felt stressful, uninspiring, so on and so forth. And what ended up really exciting you and motivating you? Where did you light up and feel alive? Okay, great. That gives you some very good information to be able to craft a list of goals that is genuinely exciting for you. That is not to be underestimated. Again, you can totally set some goals that maybe you don't feel thrilled by, but you can still connect it to, okay, if I, let's say, improve my turnout this year and I make that specific and measurable, like I would like to be able to hold my standing leg rotated as I do adagio or something without shifting my heel in or something like that to be able to stand securely. Great. Maybe that doesn't excite you, but when you think, okay, well, what could improving that do for me? The idea of what it could do for you, like, oh, I would feel so much more solid and stable in my dancing, and then I could add in more artistry, like the stability would free me up to be bigger in my artistry. Okay, great, maybe that excites you. So I think even if you have a kind of obligatory goal, like, oh, I'm not so thrilled to work on my back strength for my arabesque or whatever, okay, well, maybe you can still connect it to an idea of what improving your arabesque could do for you that is exciting. And I think that's a great way to stay actually motivated to follow through on this action. My next tip is to define realistic, going back to that idea, by how much action you are reasonably willing to take to accomplish a certain goal or make a certain change, rather than just thinking, I don't know, could I do it? That is just so vague. Like, we don't really know what we're capable of until we fully throw ourselves into it, you know? Or we try and we actually test it out. So instead of defining realistic, like, guesswork, okay, like, I don't know, do I think I can achieve it? Ask yourself, okay, what is the change I want to make or goal I want to achieve? What would I reasonably need to do? Like, what kind of action would I need to take? How often? What would I need to do to accomplish that thing? And then measure realistic by how willing you are and able you are to follow through on that action plan. That was life-changing for me. That switch was so life-changing when I stopped defining realistic in my goals by like guesswork, like, I don't know, do I think I can do it? And instead I made it more concrete, like, am I willing to take that action to get there or not? And what's so great about this is if you decide, okay, given the action it would take to I don't know, let's say get a freelance guesting contract, let's say. When you think of how much action and what kind of action it would take to get that by Nutcracker of next year, maybe you look at that and you're like, okay, actually given the other things I've got going on this year, that doesn't make a lot of sense for me to plan to do that this year. Guess what? What is so great about this is then you can frame your decision to not go after that goal in an empowered way, because it's not that you can't do it, you are simply not choosing to do it this year. That's huge. You can choose to do it another time, but you get to weigh out, like, is it worth it for me to do all those things to get that at this time, or is it not worth it because I have these other opportunities? That is such an empowered way to look at goal setting. Instead of just putting everything on your plate willy-nilly and being like, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, and this, and this, and then you're not able to follow through on it. You haven't checked if you really, really want those things. You haven't gotten clear on what kind of action it would take to get there. And then you blame yourself and judge yourself and feel insecure for not accomplishing all of those goals. Whereas you just didn't set yourself up for success. It's not that you can't do them. It just takes a little bit more thoughtfulness, and that's okay. The next thing to remember as you set goals, especially in the realm of, speaking of this idea of being realistic, is remember that every new accomplishment takes faith to get there. I want to normalize that and actually bring it into the front of your awareness that anytime we're setting a goal, especially if it's a goal to do something we've never done before, instead of sitting here and thinking, I don't know, can I do it? Can I not do it? Is it realistic? Is it not realistic? Instead, stop and ask yourself, okay, what if, after you've, followed through on the previous step of like, what action would it take for me to get there reasonably? Next, frame faith as a practice that will help you to get to that outcome. What I mean by that is faith is just confidence in what is not yet seen. And what I've seen is that the practice of faith, or trusting that you can do things you haven't done before, trusting that you can overcome hardship, trusting the process, that's associated with what I call faith that you can get to that outcome. I think the word faith often gets put into a religious connotation, which isn't bad, it's accurate. And as a religious person myself, yes, I practice faith in that sense, but I've also seen that faith is also, it's just a practice of choosing to place confidence in something you haven't maybe fully seen yet, or you've seen in part, or you have enough evidence to put faith that in that desired outcome. I think faith can also, it's good to have faith that is informed by evidence. And for you, that might be, you haven't, maybe you're trying to make the leap from pre-professional to professional this year. What it would look like to practice faith in that process is trusting that there is a company out there for you. Trusting that no matter how many times you have to try, no matter how long it takes, if you're willing to take time and experiment and iterate and grow, you will eventually get there. Now, there's an element to that where it's like, we don't fully know how your path is going to pan out, but we can look at evidence from other people's journeys or even your own journey, and you can look at, in the example of your own journey, what is the time in the past where you accomplished something that you previously weren't sure you could accomplish? If you think about it, you will have a long list. And if the list is only short in your mind, I think it's just because maybe you haven't taken enough time to really think through all the different examples that are waiting for you to be recognized from your life experience. Also, you could take evidence from other people's stories too. There are lots of people out there who maybe have gone through more than one audition season. Their path has not been so linear, it's taken some time, or they looked like they were, not the most competitive dancer out there, but then they ended up getting a contract and having a fulfilling little professional career. You could take that evidence from around you and other people's lives and say, you know what, if for them, why not me? And yes, we're still dancing with a little bit of uncertainty there, but it's way more empowered to frame that as I'm practicing faith, and I'm going to let that faith carry me through the times where I am not sure if this thing is going to work out. Because that is so normal. Anytime we are reaching for something big, there will always be an element of uncertainty to that. Because you're going to a place you haven't been yet. Of course there's unknown. Of course there's uncertainty. Of course there might be some struggle. Of course there might be roadblocks. Of course there will be a non-linear path to getting there. Like sometimes where you feel like, oh my gosh, it's gonna work out. And then other times, it doesn't look like it's gonna work out. And then sometimes at the last second, it works out. So faith carries you through the parts in the process that will inevitably shake that faith a little bit. So when you expect it and choose to practice faith to help you have resilience, help you to have hope, fortitude, drive when you don't see the evidence yet, that is so normal, and it's a gift you can give to your current and future self. My next tip in setting great goals for yourself is to check in and ask yourself what you actually want. This kind of goes along with my first point. When I say what you actually want, what I mean is there is a surface level thing that we typically want. Like, I want a professional contract, or I want to dance a lead role. Okay, let's go with the lead role idea. A lot of times we're just like, yeah, I want to dance a lead role, and that's it. But I think what's really helpful is to ask, well, what is it about that lead role that I want? Or what do I think it would give me that I don't have now? And what that does is it gives you a deeper level of self-awareness of what you're actually chasing after. Oftentimes beneath are tangible goals, like to have a contract in your hands or to have a lead role that you get to perform. Those are tangible. Often beneath that is a desire to feel a certain way. We want the lead role because it will make us feel special, or we think it will give us the opportunity to dance more expansively, or we think it will challenge us. But here's the interesting thing. It's not bad to want the lead role. Truly, I think if you want that, put it on your list. Define some action steps you can take to give yourself the best shot at getting that. But then also recognize, okay, what is it that I really want beneath the surface of that thing? Why do I say that? Because first, you might actually recognize that what you're looking for is available to you now. And it's not that, maybe it's like this feeling of being special. Maybe you can still say, yeah, I want to feel special and I do want the lead role. Okay, great. Keep that on your list of goals. Still shoot for it. But what's so great is what can help us to better accomplish the goals is instead of approaching them from a place of desperation, like, my life is not complete without the lead role, you can recognize, oh, well, beneath the surface of getting that lead role, I really just, like I said, want to feel special. I want to feel challenged. You can ask yourself, okay, well, what are some ways I can start feeling special now? What are some ways I can start challenging myself in my dancing now without waiting around for the lead role? That will do a couple of things for you. Number one, you're going to better embody the result that you want. In the example of the lead role, you're going to be, if you think, okay, how can I dance like I have a lead role right now in my classes? You're actually going to appear as a better fit for that lead role because you're already dancing as if, oh, I'm an obvious fit for that. Instead of treating the lead role as if it will make you become something that you're not already. Another thing that it will do for you is it will help you to have contentment in the process of accomplishing your goals. And I do think that contentment is a really important thing to tap into in life. It's fair to want things. I think it's good to want things. It's part of what makes life interesting, and if we didn't want things, I don't think we would really stretch ourselves and grow as much as we do, okay? So I think it's useful to want things, but how are we wanting it? Are we wanting it from a place of desperation? Are we putting more hope in our goals to like save us from our sad lives than they really deserve? Like, are we putting so much weight on the achievement of a goal to like give us some emotional fulfillment that we could really have now? And then you can treat the lead role or the contract really as the cherry on top of in your life rather than like, this is gonna make me happy and I'm currently extremely unhappy. Hopefully this makes sense. I think it's like it's a both and thing. Like, yeah, want things and examine what you really want beneath the surface of those goals and see if you can tap into it now. And maybe you'll end up deciding like, oh, well, actually the lead role thing is not actually that meaningful to me. Or maybe you're like, yeah, it is, and I can use this tool to become more content in my life now. It's great. Also, with examining what you actually want, it's a helpful way to narrow down your list of goals and make sure that you're not setting goals just because it just seems like, oh, other people are doing it and I should want it, and that's just like the thing to do. I call that the conveyor belt existence. You just go along on this pre-made path, doing what you're told. Everyone's life path is unique. Every person is unique. You don't have to want the same things as the people around you. So I think goal setting is a great way to get to know yourself better and examine like, what do I actually want? And let yourself off the hook from forcing yourself to accomplish things that you don't genuinely care about deep down. My next tip is to make your goals tangible and measurable. You can do so by answering these questions. First, tangible. What I mean is by tangible, it's like how will you know when you've accomplished the thing? That's the question. How will I know when I have, let's say, improved my turnout? Because improving your turnout, it's really more of a path than a destination in the way that we're phrasing that. That's an intention. It's not so much a goal or an outcome. I mean, because you can improve your turnout like that much, and technically you've accomplished your goal, but you probably don't feel really satisfied with that because maybe in your mind you're like, I want this. Okay, well then define your goal as I want 180-degree turnout, or I want 160 degree, whatever it is. Get nitpicky about it, and if you'll know when you've made your goal tangible, as in like real and measurable, like you can actually see, oh, I have accomplished the goal. There is a finish line to this. You will be able to know that you've made your goal tangible in that way when you can answer the question, how will I know when I have accomplished this? And make sure it's clear. This is also an important aspect of creating goals that you can measure your progress in, like how close are you getting? Are you getting further towards your goal or are you getting further away? Making the goals measurable is, you can do so by asking the question, how will I measure my progress? You know, maybe with the turnout, it's obvious. Like I will see my feet rotating more. I will see my heels more forward as I dance. And making the goals measurable is a really important or helpful way to feel successful as you're accomplishing your goals. Instead of just being in this wishy-washy land of, I don't know, am I improving, am I not? Because so many dancers set goals that are really vague and intangible and not measurable. And then the danger of that is they question their progress and they're not actually able to see, my girl, you have been growing, you have been improving, you have been getting closer to your goals. You're just not able to see it because the goals you set are not measurable or tangible. You don't know how you will know when you've gotten there. You don't know the finish line. And I know some of you might be like, but Kirsten, there is no finish line in ballet. You could always get better. It's like, yeah, I understand. But at least set like some sort of finish line for the next 3 months so that you can stay focused within a short amount of time. See, okay, have I gotten to where I want in these 3 months? Okay, then great. You can change the goal from there. You can make the goal higher, harder, whatever. So hopefully that makes sense. This is meant to give you a way to track your progress, get closer towards your goals, and also when your goals are tangible and measurable, it does increase motivation because you're able to see, I'm getting closer. Motivation is actually a feeling that comes up when we expect a reward. Seeing measurable progress towards our goals helps build our faith in the promise of a future reward. That is actually what gets us motivated. If you're not sure if you're getting closer or further away from your goals, it's really easy to lose motivation and to be like, I don't even know, what does this mean anymore? Are my efforts going anywhere? Your efforts will feel meaningless and just like tedious if you are not able to measure your progress. So do whatever you can to make sure that your goals are measurable and tangible. And by the way, if you feel like the goal is not tangible, like I want to feel more confident in my dancing, set that as an intention. An intention is different than an outcome. An intention is like something that you want to create, an experience that you want to facilitate or give yourself. It's something that's not actually that measurable. It's not supposed to be so finite. It's more of like, I have the intention in today's class to have fun. Okay, that's more of a feeling. It's not going to be tangible. It's not going to be so measurable, although you can see, okay, I'm feeling more fun, like I'm having more fun than yesterday. You'll be able to see some change, but it's not going to be like this, oh, I have a goal to feel like I'm having fun. Now, since I did that today, I'm going to do it every single day of my life, you know? So I think it's nice to frame those more intangible goals as intentions. And maybe you can make that like just an intention that you carry throughout the year, and you will be able to see a change in your life and in your experience, perhaps even your tangible results from carrying that intention. You're just acknowledging like, okay, this is more of an intention than like a tangible goal. My next tip is to measure success along the way, actually by, yes, of course you can measure it by like, am I seeing some results? Am I getting closer to my end goals? Yes, that's going to be going on, of course. But also I recommend that you focus primarily on defining success by how committed you stay to your action plan. Are you showing up consistently in the way that you want? Are you handling setbacks in a way that you're proud of and that is useful to you? Are you sticking to consistency in your action plan? I think it's really useful to focus on the plan and stick to the plan that you set for yourself, and to measure your, partially define your success each day by how well did I follow my plan and follow through on what I said I was going to do. And I think that helps you also to stay consistent instead of just always looking at the end goal and feeling like you are not successful until you finally get that contract or you get the promotion or whatever it is. So yes, stay focused on consistency in your action rather than just staying focused on the outcome and defining success as achieving that outcome. Last two things is, first, be flexible in your expectations of what the progress or process will look like in you accomplishing your goals. Be flexible with how long you think it'll take to get there. I mean, it's great to like set a time limit on your goal and really push to make that happen, but also recognize that you're just setting an idea for yourself. You're setting just an arbitrary goal, and if it ends up taking longer, that's okay. If the process ends up, feeling way different than you thought, that's okay. Be flexible with your expectations around timelines and the process, because the truth is that usually progress is not linear. And I think when we expect to have everything go our way all the time, we get defeated and we give up. And I think when we are appropriately flexible, still resilient, still push to accomplish your goals in the way that you want them. Of course, that requires focus and drive and belief that you can do it. But part of the balance of this is also recognizing, like, it's okay to also be flexible, even with your goals themselves. If you end up really pushing to make something happen and then you feel like, you know what, actually, I just don't think this is in alignment for me right now. This just isn't making as much sense for me anymore. That's okay. It doesn't mean you failed. It just means you got clarity through action. That's normal. Welcome to being a human. So practice flexibility and grace for yourself also in this process. And very last thing, speaking of faith, like I did earlier, keep looking for evidence of what is possible for you. it is so powerful to make a practice, not only out of having faith in what you want to see come to fruition in your life, but also keep looking for evidence that supports it. Celebrate your wins and frame it as like, look, I had that little win today. See, that's proof that I can do this. Look, I got that compliment, you know, that's proof that I'm going somewhere. I can, maybe I'm doing better than I thought. You know, look for the evidence that supports your hope. Look for the evidence that supports your belief that you can get to where you want to go, no matter what the process looks like or how long it takes. When you collect evidence on purpose to support whatever it is that you want to have faith in and hope for and push for and believe in and accomplish, that's going to serve you so much in the process. So that's all I have for you. I know this was a longer video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you'd like support in accomplishing your goals this year from a mental perspective, you know, you want to work through the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back for a long time. Mental blocks like not feeling good enough, always having imposter syndrome, feeling like the underdog, self-sabotaging because you keep holding yourself back in the studio instead of putting yourself in the front, or you crack under pressure when you know that you're being watched by someone you're trying to impress. These are all mental challenges that actually really can hold you back from accomplishing your goals, and that is exactly what the Confident Dancer coaching program is designed to help with. So if you'd like help not only overcoming those mental challenges as a dancer, but also building a healthy and truly confident mindset that helps you to perform to your fullest potential and accomplish your goals, then go ahead and visit theconfidentdancer.com. You can look through my website, learn more about my coaching services, and schedule a free 30-minute consultation to connect, talk about your goals, your challenges that you want to overcome, and we'll see together if you are a great fit for this program. So go ahead, again, visit theconfidentdancer.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!